guys, welcome back to Cheap Lazy Vegan. This is part 2 of my Q&A video. If you guys want to see part 1, I'll link it down below. So let's just get started and get straight to it. So, a question from Jerry. Hi Jerry. Do you like comics, and if so, what do you read? No, I don't like comics. A gamer? Nope, not so much. Any hobbies? Yes, I love singing. I love music. I have a guitar back home, which I'm not very good at, but I still like to play it. And yeah, so music is a hobby of mine just in general. I love going to festivals, like music festivals and things like that, just events, being outside with friends, you know, going out, seeing people, talking to people, going out to eat. I love to travel. I don't know if that's a hobby, but yeah, traveling is like a huge passion of mine as well. Single, it's for a friend. Yes, I am single. What are your plans for the future of your channel? I don't know. It's exciting. I don't really know what the plans are. I'm planning to continue to make videos. I'm always thinking of new ideas and new types of videos to make. I put my ideas on my phone so that I can kind of refer to them if I feel like I'm like running out of, you know, good content or stuff like that. But so far I still have a lot of, you know, good ideas and a lot of different types of videos coming, so hopefully my channel will continue to grow. And I really don't know. I'm just more excited than anything for the future of this channel. What is your opinion on zoos? I know that as a vegan you're not supposed to go to a zoo, but in France zoos are most of the time concerned about their animals and how to help the wildlife. Nowadays species are threatened all over the world, and zoos try their best to be more than just an attraction. Okay, so I don't support zoos. Surprise. I'm with the vegans on this one. I do not support zoos. Yes, I think that you're right. Maybe they do things that help wildlife, and you know, they fund certain projects and things like that. But overall, I don't believe that the foundation is the right foundation, because there are charities out there. There are, you know, other organizations that focus solely on protecting wildlife, you know, protecting animals that have been abused, you know, farm sanctuaries and things like this, you know, where the main motive is not profit, but the zoos profit off of keeping animals in captivity, taking animals from wildlife and putting them in places that they don't belong, just so that human beings can go take a few pictures and smile in front of the camera, and kids can run around and just look at a bunch of depressed animals. If you want to support actual, you know, animals being helped, then there's so many charities out there where you can actually fully help animals without making them suffer at the same time. So yeah, I just don't agree with the foundation of keeping animals in captivity. And with questions like this, if I'm kind of trying to figure out if I think it's ethical or not, the one thing that I do is try to put myself in the position of the animal or the human or whoever that is being victimized or that is in that situation. And I personally don't think I want to be held in captivity for the rest of my life while somebody comes in, takes pictures of me, and while I'm just an attraction. So why would I expect that from other animals that clearly don't want to be there as well? I got a question from the Awakened Vegan. Hi! If you were to pig out on some vegan food, but say it wouldn't count for calories or fat or anything, what would you pick? That's a great question. Oh my god, anything. I love gelato. But the thing is, like, I still do pig out on this food once in a while, just not all the time. Gelato is probably one of my favorite things ever. Froyo, frozen yogurt, if you guys don't know. And what else? Oh my god, like vegan pizza, but that's not really like unhealthy food. That's still like pretty healthy food. Chips, like crisps as British people call them, chips, or crisps. Yeah, chips or french fries or crisps and chips. What else do I like to eat? Any kind of vegan sweets. Oh my god, like a few years ago I used to make these like vegan cinnamon rolls. They were so good. Oh my god. But basically I still do eat everything that I kind of want to eat. I just don't eat it all the time. And yeah. Okay, I have a question from Tammy. Hi Tammy. Congrats, love your channel. I love your channel too. I also love your red hair. Random question, but how often do you dye it? When I had red hair, I had to dye it every couple of weeks. Okay, so let me address this question of hair. I can do a separate video on this in the future, and I'm a little bit reluctant to talk about this because I don't really want to promote the products that I use currently, because they're currently not cruelty-free. Well, at least one product that I use is not cruelty-free. I use a product by L'Oreal which we all know is quite notorious for, you know, testing on animals and things like that, which is something I'm against. But 2 years ago I bought, you know, the L'Oreal dyes, and I couldn't find any other alternatives, or I guess I didn't try hard enough to find alternatives. So what I will do is I am actually going to go to Canada in a few days, next week, and I'm visiting home for 2.5 weeks, and I'm gonna find some other hair dye that will do the same thing. I believe there's a hair dye by a brand called Ion that does pretty much the same thing basically, which is dyeing really dark hair red without pre-bleaching it. That's the reason why I use the L'Oreal product, because that's the only product that I knew that does that without pre-bleaching. So I don't bleach my hair, and I basically just use that product. Basically what happened was I used L'Oreal high color highlights, and before I came to London, I brought like a whole bunch of backups for it. So I still have a few backups of the L'Oreal high color highlights, but I definitely do need to stock up on more hair dye, which is why I'm going to venture out and try something new, which is obviously cruelty free. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll work just as well as the L'Oreal one. How often do I dye it? I dye my roots maybe every month and a half or so, but I do touch up my hair. So I touch up with a semi-permanent hair color. I can't remember the name of the brand, but I think that one is definitely vegan. But yeah, I do that maybe once a month. I touch up my actual hair like maybe once a month, and I touch up the roots like kind of in between that. I don't even know. Okay, I just touch up whenever I need necessary. I don't touch up every 2 weeks just because I don't wash my hair every day, or I very rarely wash my hair. I wash my hair twice a week. That's the trick to having red hair and keeping it as red as possible for as long as possible. I can do a separate video on my hair, especially once I have some vegan and cruelty-free products. But right now I don't use a cruelty-free product, which is why I feel really guilty and I don't really want to talk about it. I'd like to know how your parents and friends reacted to you becoming vegan. My parents were quite supportive. Like, they weren't like, oh, you can't do this is bad for you. They were mainly concerned about, you know, my protein intake and making sure I get enough calcium, you know, from milk, because that's where you get your calcium apparently, which we all know that's not really true. But yeah, so they were just kind of concerned, but they were quite supportive about it. My parents are quite open-minded, and they're quite liberal, so they understand where I'm coming from, and they actually agree that what I'm doing right now is, you know, kind of, they find it quite admirable, I think. Yeah, they do have a little bit of concern over, you know, my nutrition and stuff, but I think by this time they kind of accept that this is, you know, I'm totally fine and I'm totally healthy. My friends, depending on the friends, I remember when I first kind of started talking to people about this, when I first came across this, my friends were, it was like 50-50. Some of them were curious because many people just don't know. So some of them were just like curious to know why I would do so, especially because I used to eat so much meat, and they know how much of a foodie I am, so it's like they're like, wow, I can't believe that you would actually give up meat and stuff like that. So it was more of like a shock or a surprise. And then some friends were quite judgmental, being like, well, why, like, you know, human beings, like, we're better than animals, and like all of this stupid stuff. So I used to have like lots of debates, but not so much anymore. I think I know now, like, you know, my close friends are very supportive, so yeah. Okay, what are some tips to make the transition from a standard American diet to a vegan diet easier? I actually want to do like a full-on video on this, but overall I think I would say that number one, a lot of people, especially when you're transitioning from something like a standard American diet, they focus on a lot on the foods that they can't eat, or the foods that they no longer will eat, and I feel like that's what a lot of people do naturally. But what you can do is just look for amazing vegan recipes that kind of replicate whatever your favorite food is. So for example, if you love pizza, then you can find so many different recipes for vegan pizzas that are just as delicious and won't, you know, be cruel to animals and will be a lot healthier for you. You can make vegan versions of pretty much anything. Like, it's pretty amazing how creative people can be. So that's what I would start with, just to kind of veganize some of your favorite foods, just so that you know that vegan food is delicious. It's just food, okay? But anyway, I'm going to do a separate video on this, but yeah, I would say start with that, and don't be too hard on yourself, and take time to transition so that you don't like shock your body with like detox symptoms and stuff like that. Do your research, that's another thing. How long have you been vegan? What's the best part of being vegan? I actually do have a separate video where I talk about why I went vegan and stuff like that. That's like goes into full detail, but essentially I've been mostly fully vegan for about a year now, a little bit over a year, although I've been kind of following a plant-based diet, a mostly plant-based diet, for probably 2 years before that. Since 2011 is when I quit meat, dairy, and eggs, and then last year I quit fish, so it was kind of like a transition process. What's the best part about being vegan? The main thing is that I know that I'm a conscious consumer now, and I'm making, you know, the effort that I can to not harm other animals, and just knowing that my dinner plate did not cause a cow to suffer or a pig or any other animal to suffer, that's probably the best part. And the second best part is just being healthy without really eating great food, feeling healthy, and my weight still like is relatively low. So okay, anyways, I think I have to go because my camera's gonna die and I also have to run out. So I think I answered the majority of the questions that you guys asked me. I will get to doing another Q&A video shortly, hopefully. I'm going to Canada next week, so, or by the time I post this video, it'll probably be this week. I'm going to Canada on the 20th of August. I will still be posting videos because I filmed a few in advance, so I'm gonna have those ready to publish. Do let me know if you have any more questions down below. Just ask away, and then I can kind of keep doing these Q&A videos as I go, and hopefully this was informative. And again, if you want to check out part 1, I'll leave it down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye!